is going on, Reid Nation? How you guys doing? Welcome back to the channel. So I haven't done one of these videos in a long time. I remember the last time I did a season finale of The Flash to talk about it was probably, I think it was season 3 with Savitar. I actually talked about that, and that's been a couple years. So we're going to be talking about this. So if you haven't, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 20,000 subscribers. You guys are amazing. Amazing. Yes. So I just got done watching The Flash, the season finale for season 5, and I gotta say it ended a little bit like it ended some similar like Arrow, but it was just a lot better. Now Arrow, the season finale yesterday was good, but it did have a little, I had a lot of questions. So some of those questions might be answered and maybe, you know, when the crisis happened, but any further ado, basically, if you don't know what season 5 is pretty much about, it's about Barry and Iris's daughter Nora that comes from the future to stop her father. Stop her father from disappearing in the future. If you guys don't know, Barry disappears in Crisis, which leads Nora and Iris to be by themselves, and she never like grew up with her father. Pretty much, she did, and I think when the crisis happened, she was like 2 or 3. So she comes back, you know, she comes from the future, and long story short, she's getting help from Thawne, aka Reverse Flash, you know, to be told to do these things, and this will like help you stop your father from disappearing in the future. Which she really didn't know that what she was doing was helping Thawne. If Thawne is actually in prison, and I guess he gets caught in the crisis. It's crazy. It's like a crazy thing. But long story short, last episode, Ralph, aka Elongated Man, actually tried to stop Barry from, using the mirror gun to get rid of the dagger that Miss Cicada has. So it goes right back into this episode where instead of actually hitting the dagger that Flash was supposed to do, he actually hit Ralph, which created his body to go into this weird state of mind, and he was unconscious. And I thought it was crazy, but Nora was kind of mad because she didn't realize what was going on until Sherlock actually mentioned that in the future the dagger that they're trying to destroy is actually dampening the powers of Reverse Flash, which means that if you get rid of the dagger, then you get rid of the dagger on Reverse Flash, which he comes out, and, you know, long story short, so they're trying to figure out this plan, like how we're going to get rid of the dagger but not let Reverse Flash escape. So so Barry and Nora, they, you know, investigate, and they find this piece of shard which they use to locate Miss Cicada into the woods. And when they do this, Nora actually mentions that she's going to try to get young Cicada to take the cure, aka Grace, to take the cure. So if she takes the cure, Cicada would be out of existence, but the dagger would still be, you know, in Reverse Flash. Which it didn't work, because when they did go do it, it led to something crazy, which I'll get to in just a minute. So I actually want to talk about them discussing the situation between Reverse Flash and his dagger. So Sherlock actually, I guess, looked at some notes that Ralph had, and when you saw the notes, it literally, you know, mentioned that, you know, saying something about the dagger. And I guess Sherlock actually came to a sense of like, the dagger is stuck on Thawne. That's why he's been making Nora. So he's been making Nora like manipulate her to do all these things because, you know, Barry's gonna disappear, but it really was just to get him out. And so they're like so confused and stuff like that. But when they go to the cabin, Miss Cicada, it's kind of weird saying woman cicada or whatever like that, she actually almost kills Nora, but Barry made the decision to use the mirror gun that I believe either Cisco put through the portal. Barry uses it. He uses the mirror gun to like get rid of the dagger. When he got rid of the dagger, he got rid of Grace as Cicada, which I'm kind of wondering. So since the dagger, how would the dagger get rid of the Grace as Cicada from the future. So I guess when you got rid of the dagger, you created a new timeline, which Grace wasn't a part of. Maybe that is kind of weird. But when they did do that, it created a problem, because Nora, since she saw the future, and the reasons, you know, she actually went to go see Thawne was because of the Cicada situation, and because she wanted to see her father again. But without the dagger being on Reverse Flash, Nora never meets Thawne, so which that means that Nora kind of doesn't exist in some sort of way, or it just creates a new timeline. But Thawne, when he got out, it was pretty clean. I ain't even gonna lie. But that created a new timeline when he, like I said, when the dagger was destroyed through the mirror gun. Barry really didn't have a choice, to be honest with you. Either way, Thawne was gonna get out, so it was like, what are you gonna do? So Nora's about to disappear out of existence. Reverse Flash comes to the present of 2019, tells him that he has to go through the negative speed force to actually keep her alive. And as they were doing it, Nora was like, you know what, F it. You know, I'm done. I've done all I can. I don't want this negative speed force to take over me and make me evil. And it was like, we can fix you. And she was like, no, just let it be. And they hug, and she disappears. It was so sad. It was really sad, but I don't know what was more depressing, Arrow finale yesterday or this, because like it's all blogged in my mind. I knew Nora was going to disappear. She didn't technically, I wouldn't say she technically died. She's just a part of a new timeline, which we don't know what the timeline is, but I'm pretty sure it's the timeline where instead of her being Nora, she's Dawn, and then her brother's gonna be, was it Dawn and Dawn? So it's like, that's probably the new timeline. And a lot of people were complaining that she was Nora, but they were setting this up this way, as in Barry somehow messed the timeline up, which led to Nora being, which led Dawn to being Nora instead of being, you know. So in one timeline, she could have had, you know, she could have had twin, but from whatever past Barry did, it made a mistake, and which led her just to being Nora. Now Thawne, when he was fighting them, he actually did mention that none of this was going to stop your father from disappearing. I just needed to get out, and it was wild. Like this whole season, I ain't gonna lie, this and maybe a couple of more episodes, like the 100th episode, was probably good. I'm not gonna say every episode was good, but like pretty much this season was solid. Like I love this season way better than I did the season. I think it was season 3 or 2 that I didn't like that much. But this season, as probably season 1. I'm gonna rank my seasons. Season 1, I might do season 2 because I think season 2 is what I liked. I didn't like season 3. So 1, 2, 5, 4, and 3. So like that. 1, 2, yeah. You already see I can't even remember it now. So what else what happened? I can't think. I was trying to think some. Oh yes. So if you remember the 100th episode, they all, Nora and Barry, they were trying to like get rid of Cicada's dagger by using some type of stuff. I'm totally like mind blown because I just watched this video. So what they did, they went back in time, and I was watching Married to the Real, and Trey actually mentioned this, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? That seems very accurate. So when they went back, they actually saw Thawne from season 2. No. That might have been season 2 or season 3, where Barry actually went back in time to, that was season 2, because season 2 I believe has Zoom. He went back in time to learn how to be faster, and he had to go like talk to Dawn. So Thawne was pretty much like, I already knew who Nora was from when y'all went back in time to see me, and if she wouldn't have said nothing about Cicada, that the dagger and stuff like that would have not been an issue. He mentions that like he said something about Cicada. They're trying to stop Cicada, and he was Don having his head like, huh, okay, so this means this, and so he already knew who Nora was because when they went back in the past. So pretty much he was playing her. Nora was getting played because it was just like, I kind of feel, I was like, when Trey said that, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, because past that's Thawne is still future Thawne. They're both the same remnant. I believe they're the same remnant or something like that. I mean, he makes so many remnants, so it's like crazy. Him and Zoom was just making hella remnants. So it's like all these. So that might not be the original Thawne. I think the future one is, but it's just wild to really think that they didn't come in their head like, oh, so like if I was Nora, I would have been smart enough to think like, this is where Ralph Dibny comes in, because this dude is the master detective. He is the real reason why they figured out that the dagger was stuck on, Reverse Flash. Without this man, what I'm saying, they would have did something dumb, and then instead of Nora it would have just been all crazy. This is where Ralph Dibny comes in. Ralph would have, if he would have known a little bit more, and that they went back in time and did all that crazy stuff. I think he did, but if he would have, he didn't probably think about it, but I would have, like, if I was Nora, I would have been like, okay, if I would have back in the past to see Thawne, why is he acting like he don't know me from the future? Because that's still the same Thawne. They all have the same, it's so crazy. But it all ends with, I think his name is I can't think of the guy, the police officer, the chief. He becomes the head of the chief. I say Singh. I don't know what his name was. I keep thinking of, but end up Joe ends up running the police department, the head of the police department or whatever. He takes old dude's place because he's taking the mayor's. He said something about the mayor or something like that. I wasn't really paying attention because I was just so salty about how this all happened. And so he knows that Barry's the Flash, and I kind of figured, I was like, why he didn't figure out in like the last season or the season before. Like, I would have known easily. But you see Iris, she's like in the vault, and she's just crying, like she's so upset that Nora's gone. And then while they're looking at her, like, because Iris got her book, and while they're looking at the book, Barry realized there's like something behind it. And it's kind of reminiscent to when Nora found the little thing that Barry left her when he was in the crisis, and he knew that he was going to die. And like, he was giving it to his daughter, saying like, you got powers like me. So Nora sent them a video as well, just in case something happened. And it was just heartbreaking, and it was sad, and they was looking at it, and then when it was over, they leave the vault. But then the screen pops up, and it's a picture. It's the newspaper where Barry disappears in crisis. But as you see it, instead of being, I can't think of the date it was, but it goes down to 2019. But it zooms all the way to 2019. It doesn't show you who disappears in crisis. So what this has me saying is, instead of Barry disappearing in crisis, it's gonna say the Green Arrow vanishes in crisis. That's what I think it is, because Green Arrow is gonna pretty much, even though he dies in crisis, I think he's going to find a way to sacrifice himself in another way to have Barry and Supergirl stay alive. Because I believe they're both supposed to die in crisis, so it would make sense for him to find a way to stop it. But like I said, like, this episode, it was a lot compact, but it was pretty good. I liked it. I liked it more than the last. I liked it more than season 4 finale in some sense, because the Enlightenment stuff was all right. Then bringing back Ralph and everything, it was cool, but I felt like this one had more impact. Pretty much everybody was just trying to figure out who Jessica Kennedy Parker was playing as in that finale of last year's. Like, we were trying to figure out. We all knew it was Brownie Barry's daughter, but it's just crazy how it was. I give this season maybe I'm gonna give this season maybe a 7 or maybe like a low 8. I feel like it could have been better because of a lot of the filler that we shouldn't have had that many filler episodes, but you know, it's the Flash. Overall, I love the Flash. I don't have an issue with the shows. There was like I said, it was that one season. I believe it might have been Savitar season that I just like, you know what, I don't even like. I mean, I didn't even really fuck with it that much. But this episode was great, and I can't wait to see next year's, well, early or late this year's season, and I will react to whatever is going to be posted on Comic-Con for these shows, and I will see you guys next time. Post Nation, I'll deuces. One love, peace. Catch you guys later. Stay subscribed, stay blessed. I'm out. See you.